And so here's my first piece of advice between now and Monday. It's going to be dirty. It's going to be nasty. It's going to look silly, but be ready to be flexible. And that's a very good example of how that works. So our norms for today, do me a favor, mute your audio. I'm pretty sure I've got you all muted. I try to go through and make sure it's all taken care of right away. And it's nothing against you guys. I love you all. However, having all of you talk at once would be madness. So I have you muted. Again, if you need to talk to me, use the chat. If you haven't done so, please hide your video. There is, as of this second, 65 of you all in at once. And if you're all running video, that's bandwidth that takes away from what everyone else can see. So I'll give you guys about 10 seconds to hide your video, and then I might do it automatically for you momentarily, but that means I have to look through all of you. So if you can hide that video, I would most appreciate it. And it looks like everyone has done that. And so Tammy, I can't sit there and tell everybody because it's different depending on your device. So that's why if you can't do it, I'm gonna do it for you. So I just did that for yours. All the devices are different. I know I've had people on Android, I've had people on iPads, iPhones, computers. We'll get to you if we can, but I went ahead and stopped all your video. Karen, I'm going to go ahead and answer your question now. Karen, you'll need to contact the district and they'll help you out. At the very end of today, you'll be able to get a phone number that will allow you to get some help with the passcode. All right. Ask questions. I need you guys to ask questions. I can tell you what you need to know, but I can't really go into depth if I don't know what you need help with. So there is a raise your hand feature, and I'm going to kind of show you what that looks like. Again, you're all on different devices. So I can only show you really one way. I can't pull off all the different ways because I only have 2 types of devices. Be nice if you can hang with me. And like I said, it's going to be messy sometimes because we go back and forth between things. So if you can just hang in there, we'll get you guys covered as we go. All right. Just some memes. Again, if you were in Steve's class yesterday or today, you probably saw this, but I'm going to do it anyway because I think it's funny. This chicken's fear of change. It's not just nickels and dimes. Oops. Oh, don't go. There we go. What I'm about to tell you is going to change your life forever. So things are different. What I'm hoping is that what we're going through right now changes what we do when we get back into the classroom. I think there's been a big realization that the technology part really is that important now. And so we need to make sure that our kids are ready to go. So yeah, are you really sure you want to know it? I really hope that answer is now yes. What if we don't change at all? Maybe something magical will happen. I've been hoping that magically the coronavirus would go away, but that's not the case. It has not gone away. So we are where we are. So now it's time to adapt and change because change is invigorating. If you don't accept new challenges, we become complacent and lazy and we will atrophy. And so I hope that's not the case. I hope we can change and be ready to go on Monday with some smiling faces back at us for about 20 minutes a day. And hopefully they'll be ready to go. If things start happening, don't worry, don't stew. Just go right along and you'll start happening too. Can't do anything without Dr. Seuss. So again, I know that the naming of this class is sort of weird. It sounds like I'm going to be teaching you how to use the iPad, which is partly true. I'm going to be teaching you how to use it in a distance learning sort of way. So when we talk about settings, We're not going to go into, how to start your Wi-Fi. That's all the technical side. And I'll talk a little bit how you can get help with that. But mainly we're going to be talking about, I'm going to have to get ready for my kids. How do I do my planning? How do I record my lessons? And let's see what else we need to answer as well. So, is my iPad enough? We're going to answer that question. How do I get apps for me to complete my lesson planning? What apps should I install? How do I log into ClassLink? That is going to be the biggest part of what we do today, at least in my opinion. How do I record lessons for my kids? As you notice, this right here, this link, as you can see, it's blue. That means that you can actually click on it, and we'll talk about what screen recording can do for you. And then I'll take some questions as we work as well as at the very end. And usually the session lasts about an hour, and then I leave about 15 minutes to a half hour at the end for individual questions, and I can pull you guys up and you can ask those as well. So if you do have questions, use that raise your hand function. And let me go back to that real quick because I know I kind of breezed over it. There we go. All the devices are different. So at least for a computer, or I believe for the iPad as well, the raise your hand is down at the bottom. On the Android devices or on any other device, I don't know because I don't get to see those devices. I don't get to play with them. But if you can't raise your hand, just leave a note in the chat. The chat goes to me only, so not everyone will be able to see. So when you do chat, I'll say your name so you know I'm answering your question, and I'll say what your question is. If you ask a question and you raise your hand, I'm going to bring you up live so you can ask the class out loud, and then that way we can find out what your question is. So I apologize for breezing over that question. So our learning question objectives for today. So at the end of our hour plus, here's what you'll be able to understand. That you'll be able to access your content to teach. How to record your lessons with your iPad. And how you'll be able to find apps to help you deliver that content. So we're going to be going back and forth between this presentation as well as the iPad. So make sure we're going back and forth. If you don't have that raise your hand icon, if you take your mouse and go all the way down at the bottom, that black bar should pop up. But if it doesn't, again, use your chat feature and you can ask that question. Again, don't worry too much about the raise your hand. If you see it, great. If you don't, that's okay. All right. Let's go live. So I'm going to go ahead and stop my share. And, excuse me, and I'm going to bring up the iPad. So I know a lot of the questions we get while we're doing this is, hey, how is it you're bringing up your iPad and you're able to present? Here's my plug for Thursdays. I'll be doing 3 classes on Google Zoom, or not Google Zoom, on Zoom. If you got the email earlier this afternoon, I want to say about an hour ago, Christine Jones had texted or put out an email and said that Zoom is the only communications we're going to use with students. So on Thursday, all 3 classes will be on on Zoom. I will one of these days get that right. Zoom. So that way, and here's the reason why. With Google Meet, you can record, which is fine. You cannot record your sessions on an iPad. The other problem is that once you're done with a meet, the students can remain in that meeting, in that Google Meet, infinitely until everyone is left. And then they can go back in until the time expires. And there's no way to change that. So Zoom is going to be the way we're doing things. So bear with my speech. Hopefully I can get that figured out real quickly here. So when it comes to Zoom, it does not have closed captioning. That is true. And we can't change that. The closed captioning it does have, you have to have another person typing the captions as the meeting's going on, so it's not great. So what we suggest usually is recording the meeting, putting it into Google, into YouTube, and letting YouTube translate for the captions. And if you need more help with that, that's where you would call one of us coaches in and we'll help you out. All right, with the iPad. The biggest app that I can talk about on the iPad is going to be the one that's dead center on my screen, self-service. This is self-service. When you open it up for the first time, it's going to say, can self-service send you notifications? I usually say yes, because then that way, if there's a new app that gets pushed out, I will know about it. Now, while you guys are working on the iPad, and if you have, so at like when I open up self-service and you want to go from Zoom, where we are right now, into one of the apps, just hit the home button and it will take you to the desktop, but you should still be able to hear me. The cool thing about Zoom is it keeps the audio open as you're working through. The next thing it's going to ask you is about the analytics. I usually keep those off, so I'll hit continue. Now, everything that's listed here are all teacher apps to use, every single one. So for example, you'll see Benchmark Universe Library. Do not use this app thinking it will get you into Benchmark Universe to do your planning. The library takes you directly to what it tells you, the decodable readers for the students, and any of the other readings that would be separate from the benchmark curriculum. The one that we're really going to look at to start with is ClassLink, which is right next to it. If yours says install, we're going to go ahead and install it now. If it says reinstall, that means that it's probably somewhere on your iPad. You'll just have to find it, and I'll show you how to do that momentarily. So the first thing I'm going to do is install ClassLink Launchpad. So I'm going to give you guys about 10 seconds to do that, and then we will move on. You'll know it's installed because the install will change to reinstall. All right, let's go back to the desktop. So I'm going to hit the home button. You can see it's loading up right now. And as soon as that's done loading, we're going to get logged in. Again, this is going to be all from the teacher point of view, not the student. Students won't have iPads unless they have one at home. And to be honest, they're going to have to try to figure that one out on their own, or if they check out a Chromebook. And while that's loading, just to let you guys know, we heard this morning that over 1,000 students have requested Chromebooks to be checked out for home use, which is awesome. All right, now that ClassLink is open, I'm going to go ahead and click on it. I'm going to open it up, and it's going to ask me to log in. So why ClassLink? Well, here's the reason why. If you're using ClassLink in your classroom and you want to be able to access Benchmark Universe, then you'll need to have access to your username and password. I don't always keep mine on hand. I want to make sure I log in cleanly, whether it's Benchmark, StudySync, Big Ideas Math, any of those. I want an easy pass-through. There's two ways to log in. If you've never logged in before, you're going to use your Active Directory. Okay? If you have logged in before, you can sign in with Google. Either one of those will work. So I'm going to go ahead and give you a moment to do that. And while you're doing that, I'm going to go to the chat, and I'm just going to see if there's any questions. One question that did come in was about finding an app that might be hidden. So I'm going to put my finger between the clips and the ClassLink, and I'm just going to swipe down on my iPad. And if you'll notice, I'll get a search. So if I'm looking for self-service, if I type in self, the applications that are on my iPad will show up. If you see my regular iPad that I use all the time, I have folders, I've got different pages. Apps get hidden very easily. So I use this pretty often. All right, back to ClassLink. I'm going to pause my share real quick just so I can log in. I love you guys, but I don't trust you guys with my password because I don't trust anybody with my password. There we go. And now I'm in. The first warning I'm going to tell you, I have more than just about anybody in the district. I have admin access to ClassLink, so you're going to see some more stuff than probably you have in your ClassLink, and that's okay. You can see I put a lot of my stuff in folders because of that quantity of applications. But I do have one folder called Curricular, and you can see in here I've got Epic, I've got Follett, I've got Study Sync, Benchmark, Footsteps to Brilliance, Hapara, Zern, Great Minds. This is where I keep all of my curriculum. Now yours probably looks much like the desktop where you've got apps everywhere, and that's okay. If you want to find something and you're not sure where it is, just type it in. So if I type in bench, there's bench. If I want to open Benchmark, I'm now going to click on it, and I don't have to worry about typing anything in. In fact, while it's going, I'm going to take a quick sip of my water because I don't have to worry about username and password. Now, I am going to caveat this with if you're an LST or a coach or something other than a classroom teacher with a roster, you're not going to be able to do this part. You're going to have a different login. The one that I usually tell people to use is the substitute login that we've given substitutes to use when they come in the classroom. And if you need to know what that is, let me know. I'd be more than happy to provide that to you. Just shoot me an email and I will do that for you. So here I am, I'm in Benchmark. So if I want to look at my curriculum, click on Benchmark Advanced, and now I can look at my curriculum. Grade 5, unit, I don't know, we're probably close to unit 8 right now, or we should be, and I can look at everything I need to plan. If I want to create assignments, just like I did, just like I went in the classroom, it's the same exact thing. It's over on the right-hand side. So access to Benchmark is going to be really important for you guys, as well as Study Sync or any one of the other, let me go back to my homepage, any one of the other self-logging in apps. I've got, like I said, Study Sync is on there. I have Big Ideas somewhere on here. Let me see if I find it. There it is. So there's Big Ideas. So we have just about everything. A new one that was pushed out yesterday, like literally in the middle of my iPad presentation, we pushed out the Eureka Math Resources, which is a really cool app. And you can see everything's exploring the content based on grade level. And there's a lot of really cool things on the inside of it. So I'm going to give you a second to take a look at ClassLink. And while you're doing that, I'm going to answer some questions in the chat. Let's see here from Jana. I signed into self-service. What do I do? It says my app's now at the blank page. Never mind, I refreshed. Good. So I'm glad you're able to get in. In ClassLink, or I'm sorry, in self-service, not ClassLink. If you want to refresh, so I'm just grabbing it and pulling it down. You'll see it roll up at the top. Any other questions on ClassLink? If you notice up in the top right, you'll see the number 2. That means I still have 2 active apps open. So if I go back to Benchmark, I'm still where I need to be. Nothing's closed. Let's see here. Medora, you're asking about Google Suite. Yeah, Google Suite is in here. I have mine all bunched together under Google. So I've got Gmail, Google Drive, Google Hangouts. I got that all together. Here's the caveat to that, though. If the students have not linked their Google account to their ClassLink account, none of these will work properly. They've got to do that, and they've got to be able to do it on a desktop. It does not work in the settings. At least I have not seen it work. So I'm going to look right now. Yeah, it doesn't allow them to, yeah. So on the desktop, they can actually add in their Google account And if we have time today, I'll show you how to do that on the desktop. And if I don't have time, send me an email and I have a video on how students can do that on their own. So you don't have to worry about it. But yeah, I've got Google in there. I've got my PSD stuff, Infinite Campus, Frontline. What else? The PSD website. Just about anything that I might use, I have in here. If you want to add apps, if you go hit the plus sign, so I showed you that the Eureka math resources, you would go to the app library and you would do a search here. So if I typed in Eureka, this is what's available. And I have these both switched on. That's why it's toggled in the blue. If I didn't want the Eureka math resources, I would toggle it off. But I want it, so I want to keep it on. So yeah, you can add things using your iPad. You don't have to have a desktop to do that. Now I'm going to keep ClassLink open, and I'm going to move back over to self-service. So go ahead and reopen self-service. And here's why I wouldn't use the Google stuff in ClassLink. Google is very finicky when it comes to tablets. Google has created apps for the iPads that allow their functionality to work best. If you try to access, say, Google Classroom through ClassLink, it doesn't work as seamlessly as it does on a desktop. So in that case, we want to make sure that we have enough functionality with the iPad that we want to install the apps. So the first app I'm going to install is Google Drive. So far we've installed ClassLink, and now I want you to put Google Drive on. If it says reinstall, that means it's already on your iPad somewhere. So there's Google Drive, and you can see now it's loading on my iPad. So I'm going to give it a second to load, and so if you guys have any questions while it's loading, go for it. Google Drive tends to take the longest out of all of them because there is so much that goes into it. You can actually push stuff into Google Drive from some of your iPad apps. Is there a way to stop students from taking pictures with iPads? No, you can't. It's an integrated functionality of the iPad, but we don't have to worry about that right now because our students aren't getting iPads to use. There's talk that they might allow Chromebooks for Kinder and First, but I'm not sure what they're going to do with TK, if anything. Again, that's all preliminary. No guarantee of any of that. The first grade parent yelled at you today. Uh-oh, that's not good. Ani, yeah, I would definitely contact Scott over in Tech Services. If ClassLink isn't there, then your iPad may be in a different group of iPads instead of with teachers, because you're super important. And there you go. And awesome. Did I mention awesome? For those of you guys who don't know Ani Jackson, she's awesome. That is taking forever to load. So I'm going to let that one load, and then I'm going to go back to self-service, excuse me. So the next one we're going to add in then is going to be Google Classroom. And I'm kind of hesitant to have it go in because I don't want to slow down the Google Drive one. So let's see if it'll go. Tammy, I'm going to give you a phone number for you to call. That'll help you get a hold of them. Midori, we're trying our best. The problem is having enough devices for all students. We have enough devices for second and up. It's adding in those lower grades that have iPads. So that's going to be that's the hard part. So they're trying. I promise that they are trying. So the key above some of the apps, that's a great question. I'm not sure who this is, TA1. The key above the apps means that they are password. So you have the ability of having a password attached to the apps. So for example, like Benchmark requires a password, it goes straight through. That's why. Jessica, I use the desktop to do that. I don't know. I would necessarily use the iPad. Let me see what happens when I do that. Yeah, it doesn't want to create it, but I can move them into other. So if I want to take my Slack and put it into whiteboards, it'll move it. I think I can also do new folders. So if I create a new folder, I'll call it test. Oops. And everything's lagging right now because I'm installing those two apps. There we go. So if I call the new folder test, I can then put in whatever I want to. So I'll put breakout in there, California Student Privacy Alliance. I don't know why I have that. Elevation, and then create. So it's a little bit different doing it on the iPad versus the computer. Computer is just a little bit easier. If you want them out of a folder, so I just made my test folder. Let me see where that went. There's my test folder. So now I'm going to hit the pencil up at the top, and I'm going to turn off breakout and California Student Privacy, and I'll save it. There we go. So now I only have the one app in there. Good questions on ClassLink. All right, good. Drive is now installed. So let's take a look at Drive. I'm going to click on Drive. And I'm going to hit the sign in button. So remember, sign in is going to be your Google email address, what we use to find our email on the computers at work. There we go. And I'll probably pause it at some point so you guys don't all steal my email address and password. That would be bad. Not that you guys would do that. All right, I'm gonna hit next. And now it's gonna ask me if I wanna save it. I'm gonna say not now. And because I'm a computer dork, I have two-step verification turned on, and now I've got it ready to go. And so now it should load. There we go. And my drive always takes forever to load because it's got way too much stuff in it. So now I've got access to all of my docs that I normally would have on my desktop or my Promethean at work. Now this is important because you guys will be PLCing with your partners at school, your peers, and you want to be able to access documents without having to worry about, did it get emailed to me? You can just go in and look at the shared folders. So in the top right hand, you'll see what we call the hot dog. That's up there on the top left, not top right hand, top left. You have your recent files, you've got starred files, which are like your favorites. At the bottom, you have your folders, your files. You've got what's shared with you. Like I said, it takes forever for them to load. Any workspaces you've created, I've created a few. And then any priority documents. These are documents you access over and over and over. So the Google Drive is huge on your iPad. Not as important as ClassLink, but definitely important for your iPad. Any questions on Google Drive? And you can see mine's still loading. So there we go, finally. Made it all the way through. Like I said, I've got stuff. Probably 2/3 of this drive I could probably go through and delete, but it would take me years to do that. All right. In that case, let's take a look at Google Classroom. So now that I have my drive, I can open up Classroom. The functionality with Google on the iPad is very close to the Google Classroom on a computer, or I'm sorry, on a desktop computer or your Promethean. I can use my district sign-in. This is going to be up to you. Middle school teachers may say, no, I don't want to get all my notifications from all 7,000 kids I have in all my periods. And I completely understand that. Elementary may say about the same thing if they're sharing classes. For now, I'm going to say don't allow. That means that whenever a student does something, it won't pop up to tell me. And for all of you tumbleweed people that are on this right now with me, so thank you very much for all your classrooms. All of the classrooms, I appreciate that. I'll have some time here to go through these. Thanks, tumbleweed. All right. So I have all of my classes. I'm either a part of this class as the teacher or as a co-teacher. So if I want to go to my flip grade class, I have the same functionality down at the bottom. I have my stream, my classwork, my access to all the people. Here's the stream. Here's the classwork. I can on the very right, assignment, question, material, reuse, topic. All that is the same. So whether you're on the iPad, whether you're on the computer, it really doesn't matter. It's just a matter of what the look and where everything gets placed. On the computers, on the desktops in Promethean, all of your creating assignment information or your stream classwork people is all on the very top. So all they did was move it down because that's where a lot of a lot of Apple stuff happens. So you've got ClassLink, you've got Drive, and now you have Classroom. Any questions about those three? And while those questions possibly are coming in, the only other thing I would look at installing ClassLink, or I'm sorry, not ClassLink, on self-service is after I get Classroom and Drive on there, I would then finish out the rest of the Google apps, Docs, Sheets, and Slides. And the reason I would do that is because when you go to open them up, whether you're in Drive or Classroom, it's going to want to open up the app on the back side, and that's what we want. If you try to do it from your Drive, it gets messy. Remember, our goal is to try to keep things as non-messy as possible, even though we know this is all going to be messy. And it's okay for it to be messy. All right, I'm going to stop my share for a second. I'm going to go back to the presentation because I want to take a look at where we are with answering questions. So is the iPad enough? Yes. Is it the most optimal, best thing we can do? Probably not. I mean, I would say optimal is if you had a desktop, if you had a desktop and an iPad, those would probably make things go a lot smoother. But are they needed? No. You would be just fine with the iPad. If you have your iPad and a cell phone, you'll be golden. How do I get apps for me to complete my lesson planning? We just looked at ClassLink, Classroom, and Google Drive, as well as the other Google apps. What apps should I install? That answered that question as well. And we also showed how do I log into ClassLink. So let me take a look at some of your questions. You said you install all of the Google apps, like Sheets and Slides. That's correct, but I wouldn't do that now because it'll bog down your iPad. But when we're done, or maybe toward the very, very, very end when I'm taking questions, if you want to install those, yeah, I would definitely install those. But do that later. It's not something you need right now for what we're doing. Good question, though. And I don't think I said your name, Nicolina. And I'm sure I butchered that, and I apologize. So now we're going to take a look at how do I record my lessons from my kids. So just to give you an idea one more time for our objectives, we've talked about accessing your content. We've talked about recording lessons with your iPads. That's what we're going to go into right now. Tammy, yours might need to be refreshed, and that might be right, the reason why. But we'll take a look, but that's something we can take a look at it. Is it locked? In fact, Tammy, I'm going to unmute you. Hold on a second. Because I don't want you to have to wait for you to text back and all that stuff. So let me go to you. So Tammy, is it showing locked inside self-service?
Well, self-service won't go into ClassLink. So I went through Palmdale School District, went into ClassLink, and then I went in to add the app, and it shows that Google Slides is locked.
Okay. So it sounds like you went a roundabout way. So we'll see what we can do about that. Okay.
Well, because I can't put ClassLink. ClassLink won't come on through self-service.
I gotcha. So you were going through your iPad website.
Yeah.
Okay, I gotcha. So yeah, same thing with Ani. When she was asking that, we'll get you the phone number at the very end.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. All right, so let's talk about what I think is the most important part of this entire presentation is getting kids with lessons in their hand, because you guys are only going to be with your students about 20 minutes a day. So we want to make those 20 minutes count. So let's take a look at that. I'm going to go back to my iPad. My apologies for taking a second to do that. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and close out, and I'm going to take a look at two apps. So the first app is one that is native to the iPad, and that is Notes. In Notes, we can actually use a sketching figure. So if you notice at the very bottom there, it says sketch your thoughts. You don't have to have a stylus. In a couple of my other sessions, I was asked, well, oops, I just lost you all. Let me get that back. Sorry, I just lost the iPad. I was asked, do I have to have like an Apple Pencil to do all this? No, absolutely not. You can use your finger. So this is an app that comes with the iPad. There's no installing. So when you're using Zoom to work with your students, you can have this up and displaying for your students. And if you notice at the very bottom right hand, you'll see that there's a little pencil down there. So let me draw like an arrow that shows you where it is. And then I'm going to exit out so you can see. Now, if you don't see this feature on your iPad, if you don't see that with the pencil down at the bottom right-hand corner, that means your iPad needs to be updated, and I'll talk about that at the very, very end, okay? So, and I would bet most likely that Notes is probably hiding somewhere on your iPad. So you have three writing utensils here. You've got the marker, which is what I was just using right now. And if you double click on it, you can change the width of it. You can change the colors. So I'm going to add in some red. Or if you want to add in something that's not there, like purple, you can do that. The second one is a highlighter. And you can highlight, again, just using my finger. Or you can use a pencil. Pencils are going to be varying degrees of width because of the fact it's supposed to act like a pencil. Oop, there we go. And you can see it kind of looks like lead on a piece of paper. Yeah, so the icon for Notes for me looks just like that right in the middle. Let me see if I can hover over that. There we go. Oh, it won't let me do anything more, but there it is right there. It's right underneath the camera. And then the last one is the eraser. And again, I can't change the width of the eraser on that one, but I can definitely erase just about everything. So I really like the Notes. And the reason I like Notes is because there's another feature we're going to talk about momentarily. That one's going to be really hard for me to show you because I can't really show you how to use it while I'm projecting into Zoom, but that's okay. I'm actually going to go back into self-service, and at the very bottom, at least for me, it might be another place for you, there's an app called Show Me. I'm going to install it. Don't worry about installing it right now. Do that at the very end because it is a pretty lengthy install. Now, what Show Me is an interactive whiteboard for your iPad that will not only record you working on the iPad, but it will record your voice in real time. So as you're explaining the math, as you're explaining how to diagram the sentence, whatever it is that you're doing, processes in science, whatever it might be, you can be annotating on top of that. So as soon as that loads, I'm going to show you what that looks like. And we're good. So let me open up that. Now here's the downside of Show Me. Show Me does have a paid service that goes along with it. I only use the free stuff. I do not pay for an account. And I'll show you why here in a moment. But again, it's the same type of thing with notes. I can write on it. The difference is up here at the top, that red button. If I press that red button, it's going to start to record. Now, again, I can't record as I'm sending it to you, so it's kind of hard for me to deal with. But I can at least show you where that record button is. So yeah, Show Me, so just like you're seeing now, Midori, I'm using Show Me in Zoom. So you don't have to record. You can just use it as an iPad, and that's fine too. Dora and let's see, someone else asked it. Maybe I missed it, but Dora, where's the app? It's in self-service. So if I go back to self-service, it's the one that says Show Me. So it's right there. So yeah, Show Me can be used in Zoom. I can use multiple pages. So if I want to go to page 2, I can continue to write page 3, and then I can always go back, and there they are. But here's the advantage over notes. Let's say I want to bring in a PDF document. I'm going to take a photo. I'm going to take it of my water bottle here in my office. I'm going to use that photo. First of all, you can see it's going to go over all my writing. So let me erase only my drawings. And what I can show you here is that I started my day with my water here, and now my water is here, which means that I'm going to be in trouble by about 3 o'clock this afternoon because I'm going to have to go potty. But the idea is I brought in this picture and I can annotate using that picture. So for a lot of you guys that are math teachers, using that part of it to bring in the PDF or the visual would be huge. What I don't like about Show Me is I can't manipulate. So in other words, I can't create manipulatives and then move them around, sort of like a smart notebook might be able to do that. But I can bring in pictures. I can choose a background. So for those of you in lower grades, let me go to a clean page here. If I want my kids to look at how to write my letters, now keep in mind I'm using my finger. I would probably do this with a stylus. So now I can sit there and I can have my kids working on writing their letters. Or if I'm working on numbers, if I'm working on number bonds, I can show them how to do that. So Show Me, whether you have an account or not, to me is a game changer in what you're going to be doing over the next 6 weeks or so. So on that spot, I'm going to stop. Let me go back to the chat, see what kind of questions we have. After you record, do you share it onto Google Classroom as a resource? I would either do it as a resource or I would share it as part of the assignment. So Heather, good question. Mitchell, should we log in to Show Me or is that unnecessary? Mitchell, depends on how you're doing it. If you're going to do it where you're going to be uploading a video you've already made through Show Me, then yeah, you'll need to log in. Now, that's not a bad thing that you're logging in. You get five different videos to use. So for me, those 5 videos would be worth it. And then as the days go on, so when you get to like Friday of the week, there's video number 5. I would just delete video number 1. And now I've got 4 videos for Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And then for Monday, be ready for a new video. It can be used in Zoom by sharing your screen. That's exactly what I'm doing right now, Michelina. So yeah, absolutely. Using Show Me by just sharing your screen with Zoom. Midori, can you save and put in Classroom? I'm going to show you how to do that right now. So I'm going to say done. I'm going to discard that. And I'm going to hope that I remember my login for Show Me, because I know it is not my Google account. All right, got that done. I'm going to pause it for my password. Sorry, guys. You guys all thought you would get all 5 of my videos. Nope, that was the wrong one. Strike 2. Let's try this one. Maybe I did attach my Google account. If not, I'll grab my other iPad and I'll show you guys. I did not. So let me log out of this, even though I'm in my Google account. I can't save anything. And so let me log off of this iPad and let me grab my Mamma Jamma, way too big for anybody iPad. And then I'll log into Show Me for you. All right, so you can see I've got my 5 videos. This is all I can do. So I can actually, let me show you what I do with it. So I corrected a daily language review with one of my sons just to give him extra grammar practice. And so you can see this is, as we move through this video, I can write and annotate as we work. So if I fast forward this, you can see I've continued to do that. So I've created my video. Now what? I'm going to hit this gear right there. Oops, I don't want to delete it. There we go. Now I want you to watch what happens. I would love to be able to download this and save it to my drive. Yeah, but they're going to want to charge me. I would love to save the video onto my iPad. Yeah, they're going to want to charge me. So the one you want to use is the share. And you're going to want to copy that link. So now when I go into Classroom, let me pull up my Classroom that I can pull up. It'll pull up all 7,000 classrooms that I have. Again, thank you very much, Tumbleweed. I have the sneaky suspicion half a Tumbleweed right now is snickering at me, and that's okay. So when I go to classwork and I add an assignment, so let's say I'm teaching grammar using the daily language review, and I'm going to attach using the paperclip in the top right, the link, and I'm going to paste that link in. Notice the link says showme.com, and I'm going to add it. And there's the link. So I'm actually going to turn it off for all the students in this class because I don't want them to get it. Or actually, let me see here. Who can I bug that's in this class? I'll bug Diane. Sorry, Diane. So she'll get this. It's worth 100 points. Correct your DLR as you watch the video. And I can send it. And I'll show you what the assignment looks like. So there's the instructions. Here's the link. If they click the link, it'll open up Google Chrome. And there's the video. And they can just play it from right here. Morning, Baby Dude. So let's take a look at the DLR. Baby Dude is my son's nickname. So classmate, I'm sorry, what am I using here? Too many. Show Me, to me, is a game changer for you guys. I think you guys will be able to do a lot of really cool stuff with it. All right, back to questions. Why won't Google Classroom or Show Me install in self-service? Eric, it depends on what it's saying. So let me know if there's any type of error message. Hey, I like Show Me. Later, send out sample lesson to view. I'll practice too and share with first grade. Yeah, feel free to share me a sample lesson, and I have no problem sharing with you what I've done. Just remember, I've done it for my kids, so I might say a lot of loves and all that stuff. I promise they're not regular students. They're my kids. So I say a lot of love you, see you later, have a good day, stuff like that. Not that loving your students is a bad thing. Any other questions on all of those? Because we have one more app. It's my carrot in front of everything. Let's see here, Michelina. I logged in with Google. I see the subjects on the side. Can you add subjects? Yeah, you can. So they're not really subjects, they're topics. So yeah, you can use topics on the left-hand side of the classroom. So it just depends. Can you use Show Me to record yourself teaching? Kelsey, it won't show you like say Screencastify would, where it'll show you in the bottom corner. But what you'll see in the video is you'll see that I am annotating on a PDF as I'm teaching the lesson. And I don't know that the audio is coming across to you guys. So if you send me an email, I will for sure share the one of the videos with you, and you can take a look and see how I did that. Again, just remember, there'll be a lot of love yous and have a good day and behaves and that type of stuff. Michelina, how do you add topics? So in Classroom. So if this is my classroom right here, there's two ways to do that. So if I go into that DLR assignment and I go into instructions and I edit, down at the bottom here, you'll see where it says topic. If I click on topic, I can add a topic and type it in. Or I can use a topic that's already been done. So now if I said save, now DLR is the topic. Midori, when kids do assign in Classroom, is there a way to turn them off, not sending completion emails? Yes, you can't do that from, well, actually, I haven't tried it from the iPad. Let me see. So I go down to settings. Let's see here. Account settings. That's not going to help me. Notifications. That's what you want. So if you go to notifications, notice I turn mine off. If I turn them on, then I have a choice of all the different types of notifications that I want. I love all my teachers that I'm partners with on Classrooms, but I don't want to get all of the updates as students want them to come in. All right, let's go back to the presentation just to see what we've answered. So, accessing your content to teach, ClassLink to access your ELA, math, and anything else that requires passwords, Google Drive to get your docs and presentations, Google Classroom to do that assigning of information to your students and receiving their work back. And then the Show Me is a way to record the lesson. But there's one more that I want to show you. And let me go back to that one right now, because that one I can't really show you, but I can show you how to add the functionality. Notice right here it says, how do I record lessons for my kids? That link is going to take you to this website. This website explains, this website explains how to record using your iPhone, iPad, or if you still have it, your iPod Touch. Now the question is where is that on the iPad? That's a great question. So on the iPad, there's a place called the Control Center. So there's the desktop. If I put my finger in the black right above the battery at the top right, swipe down, that's the Control Center. So the very bottom buttons, the four of them there, are timer, alarm, notes, and camera. Those are all embedded inside of your iPad. But if I come back to the desktop and go to settings, there we go, control center. And if you'll notice, the second option down there is customize controls. There's timer and with red next to it, alarm, notes, and camera. That's what's included. But if I scroll down to the more controls, this one that's at the very bottom, screen recording, if you hit that green button, it'll pop it up to the top and include it. So now when I swipe down from the top, it's the bottom, very, very bottom button there on the left. Now, if you notice, when I go to hit it, it won't do anything. It just bounces. That's because it cannot be in screen share in order for that functionality to work. So in order for that to work, you've got to be you have to be out of presenting mode, and you've got to be to follow those instructions on that link. So that's why that link is really important. What's really cool about the screen recording is it acts just like Show Me, and it saves it like a video. So you won't have to worry about saving it and moving it in. You can actually take the photo or the video and put it right into your Google Classroom. It's pretty cool. I wish I could show you that because it is pretty quick and seamless. If it's something you want to see, we can set up another time and I'll figure out a different way to show you guys. One thing about updating though, while we're here in settings, highly, highly suggest every single time you see it, if you go to General, Software Update, and make sure that your iPad is up to date. It needs to stay up to date. 2 reasons. Number 1, it keeps your iPad safe from viruses. Yes, the iPad can get viruses. Secondly, the functionality is huge. For example, the notes that I showed you, if you're not up to date, that little markup tool with the pencil and the marker and all that may not be there. So that's really important. All right, back to the chat. Can you show how to get there one more time, please? Yes. So I'm assuming you're talking about Control Center. So let me close settings. Let me close all this just because it's making me nuts. In order to close an app, you double tap quickly on the home button and it'll show you all your apps that are open. Close those apps when you're not using them, if you're not going to plan on going back to them, because they do take up bandwidth. So now to add in the screen recording, I'm going to go to Settings. I'm going to scroll down, and underneath General, I'm going to go to Control Center. Customize controls. And then if it's green, so let me put the screen recording back. So there's screen recording down at the very, very, very bottom. I'm going to add it, and now it's in there. Now it's up at the top, and it's this one right there. Midori, I keep getting backup notices. If you are logged into your iPad and you're using your iCloud account, you can back it up, and I advise that you do. That way you don't lose anything. What about iPad not backed up? Same answer. So that's up to you guys. To sign in on your iPad with your iCloud account would be right here. The district does not provide you with an iCloud account. The district does not pay for extra storage. It is what it is. So we kind of need to take that one on our own. So if you don't have an Apple ID, this is where you'll do it. So in settings, it says sign into your iPad, and that's where you'll click. So if you just recorded something, so for V1980, I can't screen record, but it goes into your photos, and it'll happen here. So here's what I can do. Let me take a picture of something. So I'll use my water bottle again. So when you come into the photos, whether it's a video or whether it's a picture, you'll click on it up at the top, and this part you can't see. I'll hit select. So I select the photo. See in the top left of the box with the arrow pointing out? If I hit that, and again, it doesn't matter if it's a picture or if it is a video, it's going to give me some choices: emailing it, adding it to notes, or saving it as a PDF. If I hit the three dots, which is more, if you'll notice, I have two other options toward the bottom: Google Drive, Classroom. If I turn those on, click Done, I now have them on that ribbon and I can share them. So if I go to Classroom, it's going to try to access Classroom and my 6 million classes that Tumbleweed has shared with me. You can tell that number keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger because I become more pleased and more pleased and more pleased. And basically what it's going to do, it's going to ask me if it'll continue, but I may have too many classrooms. It'll tell me, which classroom do you want to put it into? Do you want it to be an announcement or an assignment? And then you're going to fill it out as if it's an announcement or an assignment. So it kind of works just like Classroom, but that's how you get to it. Yeah, see, it quit. Even the iPad says you have too many gosh darn classes. All right, to my favorite app of all time. You want to make a connection with your students? This is the app to do it with. It's called Clips, and it should have been pushed out to your iPads. If it's not in self-service, let me rephrase that. If it's not, in self-service, you'll see Clips on the second row. So that way you can actually use the Clips app. Now what the Clips app is just a fun recording app. So I'm going to go ahead and pop it up. It'll give you a welcome, show you all the things you can do with it, but I'm going to bypass that for right now. And I'm going to go ahead and let's add in some stuff into my video. Let's see here. I'll make it comic book. Give it a second to kick in. There we go. Now I'm in comic book. I can add in labels. So let the labels load. I can't use day one anymore. That's what I used yesterday. I'll use let's do this. Put this down here. I can make it smaller. We'll put it right there. I can add in an emoji because I love you guys. Or actually, you know what? We'll do a sticker. There we go, because I love you guys. It's downloading the sticker. There it is. I'll make it a little smaller. We'll put it right there. So now when I'm ready to record, I've got my video set up. I can press and hold the red button. Hey guys, I can't wait to show you what I've been doing while I've been quarantined. I'm a little stir crazy, but that's okay. So now I've got my video ready to go. I'm going to click on that video. And again, see that box with the arrow going out? I'm going to push that, and I'm going to put it wherever I want to show it. I'm going to put it, though, in my album. Well, that's not cool. Let's save the video. There we go. So while that's going, I'll show you what the video looks like as soon as it's done rendering. All right, now let's show the video. So I'm going to go back to my photos. And I don't know if you guys will be able to hear it, but you'll at least be able to see what the video looks like. But hey guys, I can't wait to show you what I've been doing while I've been quarantined. I'm a little stir crazy, but that's okay. And so the same thing I can do if I hit that arrow up at the top, or if I come back here and select, I can hit that button and I can put it wherever I want to put it, wherever I want my kids to see it. If you have Class Dojo installed, if you have Remind installed, all of those will allow you to push out the video or the picture. It's just a matter of increasing the steps. All right, back to the chat. My clips won't stay open. So Mitchell, it might be because what we're doing right now just might be taking up all that the iPad can handle. So you might have to restart it or wait till we're done. Barb, clips icon shows on my iPad, but there's only a blank screen when I open it. Or does it go back to the desktop, or it goes back to the desktop? yeah, try reinstalling it. And again, it might be that we're just absolutely crush the iPads with the Zoom right now because we have a lot going on and we've been on for a little bit over an hour. All right, so let's take a look at our presentation because that is really where we're getting all of our, making sure we're staying on task. So well, that's not good. That's not where I want to be. There we go. So is the iPad enough? For now it is. Yeah, we'll be good. How do I get the apps? I just showed you going into self-service and then going into ClassLink. Those are two places that you can get whatever you need. What apps should you install? I showed you Clips. I showed you Drive. I showed you Google Classroom. After we're done, install Show Me, install all the Google apps for education. Do all those after we're done. How do I log into ClassLink? I showed you how to do that on the iPad. If you need help getting your kids to connect their Google account, email me and I'll send you a video on how that works. How do I record my lessons? I just showed you that. That's using the screen recording. And now we're ready for questions after I go over this part. You can now access your content through ClassLink. Record your lessons using Show Me or with the screen recording in combination with notes. You can also use Clips to do your recording as well. If you want to have one of your kids or your spouse or significant other hold up the iPad and videotape you, you could do that as well. And where can you find apps to deliver that content? You start off in self-service and you move over to ClassLink. Now you can use the App Store. Just remember, if it costs anything, that's up to you. You're paying for it. That's number one. But number two, vet it before you use it. A lot of times it'll say it's an educational app. Like, for example, the cool math games. Those are not math games. So you want to vet those before you assign them. All right, let's see here. Any questions coming in? If I delete Gmails on iPad, does it delete on desktop as well? If you're in Gmail on the app on the iPad and you delete the emails, yes, then it does it across all your devices. So any last minute questions, go ahead and get those in now. Just a couple things. I promised Tammy that I would tell her the phone number in case she's having a problem with her iPad or getting into anything. And this is it, 661-789-6600. That'll connect you with Jim Smith and his department. To be honest, you can email Jim. He's probably averaging 100 plus emails a day. So you're better off calling the number. Excuse me, sorry. Learning at home, if you haven't seen it, if you haven't seen the website, here's the website. Your ed tech team worked really hard on this website, along with Chris Jones, Steve Stuckey, Melissa Shields, Jerry Sloan, along with some of the other departments throughout the district. So if you haven't seen what we've shared with your students, definitely take a look there. On top of that, we've got the PSD EdTech website. Here is why this is important. Not only do we have information on all of the remote teaching resources, but we also have all of our webinar recordings housed here. So as it loads, like here's the beginning Google Classroom. Here's my iPad training from yesterday afternoon, although I'll tell you right now, this one was way better. Nothing against them. I just knew what I was doing a little bit more. Beginning Apara, beginning Google Classroom. Our stuff today, all the classes today will be uploaded into YouTube, so you can go watch those. Those should be done by tomorrow. And if you haven't subscribed to our channel on YouTube, I'm going to act like a millennial here for a second. Please like our channel. It's how we get information out to you. And any video that we've ever done over the last 5 years is usually kept there. The other thing that's important is when you need help. So over the next few weeks, if you need assistance, there's a link here for our virtual meeting calendars. It doesn't matter what school you're at. It doesn't matter if, Steve is my guy when he comes to Desert Rose, or Melissa's the girl that I see when I go to Joshua Hills. We're all here to help you. And so if you can see, you'll see on some of our calendars, you'll see these open times where you can log in and be put into a waiting room. And when we're done helping that person, we'll come in and we'll help you out. So have your questions ready. We want to help you. That's why we're here. And then the last link on there takes you to the Apple Teacher Learning Center. You use your iPad, use your iCloud email or your iCloud login to get into it. You'll find a whole bunch of different resources using the iPad. All right, back to the chat. Let's see. For those of you thanking me, I appreciate it. No problem. You know what? I have a voice for radio, but a face for radio too, so that's okay too. Midori, Zoom keeps dumping out on me. I'm not sure why. Most likely it's probably when you're screen sharing, it might just be too much depending on what you're sharing or your internet connection. So I can't really tell you much more than that. All right. I'm going to end it right there. I'm going to stay on for about another 15 minutes or so. And just remember, it's going to be messy. It's going to be ugly. But you know what? Be open to change. Be open to help. And we will be more than happy. We'll be more than happy to help you out. My mouth is done. My brain is done. But I hope you guys have a great day. And I'll see you soon. Don't forget, tomorrow we have Zern and a couple other classes I can't remember off the top of my head. And on Thursday is the big day. We go over Zoom. Those classes are going to be packed, so try to get in on those as quickly as you can. You guys are all very welcome. And then, like I said, I'll hang here, and if you have a question, I'll pull you up. All right, Barb, so let me pull up Show Me again. And use my Mamma Jamma 1. So when you delete, because I'm sorry, I didn't see your question earlier about deleting. And let me scroll up and just see. I might have had my head down when you were doing it. Oh, I'm sorry. Once it is shared with Google Classroom, if you delete it from Show Me, if you delete it from Show Me, then the link goes dead. So they won't be able to see the video anymore. So that's why I would probably err in the side of use your screen recording, but the Show Me app is a pretty good app to use as well. So Barb, on getting Google Cloud, you're probably gonna have to Google that on how to do that. I don't remember off the top of my head. But I believe you can do it on iPad. You don't have to have a desktop to sign up for the Google Cloud. But I can tell you the iPad will not back up to Google. The iPad will only back up to Apple. And that might be what you're talking about. You might be talking about the Apple Cloud. Yes, ma'am. Let me do that right now. All right, Barb, go for it.
Okay, because I've got way too many pictures. When I looked at yours, you've got none, and I must have a dozen or more. So the only way is that, could that be causing the iPad not to run well? Because there's too many.
Can. So if you go to your settings, and I believe it's under, so just for fair warning, the iPad I'm using is a cleaned out, absolutely nothing teacher iPad. No one's used it before. So that's why there's nothing on it besides whatever I just put on it. But if you go into settings and then go to, I believe it's general and then iPad storage, which is about halfway down, it'll tell you where most of your memory is going.
So I'm looking for storage.
Correct. You'll see iPad storage. It's about halfway down. So if you're under general, you'll see about, software update, and then AirDrop, handoff, multitasking and dock, accessibility, and then it'll say use side, switch to, lock rotation, or mute. And then the next one is iPad storage. Do you see that on there?
I'm on the wrong side. I'm looking on the left, and it's over here on the right.
Oh, okay. So on the
Okay.
left, go to general, and then
Okay.
the iPad storage is on the right.
Okay, got it. All right. Now it does say iCloud Photos enable.
So it might be that it's trying to get there. And do you have an Apple account?
Yes, I do.
So make sure you're logged in where I showed you where the sign into your iPad button was. That's where you would want to sign in with your Apple account. And it should start backing up to that if that's the case. If it isn't already, like my big Mama Jamma iPad backs up to my personal Apple Cloud.
All right. Did you tell us that at the very beginning? My doorbell rang at the very beginning of today's session, so I might have to go back and watch it to figure out how to log into my iPad.
How did you what with your iPad? I'm sorry.
To log in?
As far as like through Zoom or?
Well, you just said to log into the iPad. Or to log into Apple?
Yeah, to log into Apple. So I showed that when I went over the settings and everything.
Okay, like I said, that's when my doorbell rang. So
Gotcha. Yeah. So
I'll watch the video. That's fine.
No, that's fine. I can also tell you. So in the settings, on the left-hand side where it said General and Control Center, if you scroll all the way up to the top, it'll either say sign into your iPad or it'll say your name.
Says my name.
So you're logged into your Apple account.
Okay.
So the next question would be, and without being able to see it, is it backing up appropriately? That would be the question.
It's not backing up, and it might be because I don't have it enabled.
That's a possibility. So then you would have to enable it. So if you click on your name, you should see iCloud is somewhere on there, iCloud backup, and you should be able to turn it on.
Okay. Backup settings. iCloud backup, it's green.
If it's green, then it should be backing up. Now, whether or not it's doing it appropriately or there's enough space there, that's a different subject.
Okay.
If that's the case, you might want to call the tech department with that phone number that I gave earlier, and I can email it to you, or if you want to see it on one of the videos.
The 789-6600?
Yeah, and just let them know. Just say, hey, I need to find out whether or not my iPad is backing up or not.
Okay. Because I noticed, like in the last couple of weeks, the touch screen isn't feeling the touch or whatever you want to call that.
Interesting.
Yeah, I'm touch before it does what I want it to do.
And it might be that it's bogging down trying to back up. So that's a very good possibility. So it might be trying to, but it just can't.
Okay. And it may be that I've got too much used and I need to start getting rid of some stuff.
Very good possibility.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Dan, very much.
Hey.
This is very, very helpful. I loved knowing all the apps also. Those were
I
great.
hope so. I know we went quick, but hopefully, if anybody didn't get anything, they'll be able to watch the video.
Well, and that's it. And for those of us who don't do stuff like this on a daily basis, the LSDs, the RSP,
Right.
this is so new to us. So thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'm sure I'm going to be on a call with Kelly Castell, within the next few days. So I know that's probably going to happen. So. And that's okay.
Okay.
So,
thank you.
You got
Bye-bye.
it. Hang in there. Have a good day. All right, last chance. Anybody else who has questions, I'll hang out for 2 more minutes, and then I will end the video. I am going to stop the recording, though.